The Air Force making some big changes to its physical fitness test. The standard one used to include push-ups, sit-ups, and running a mile and a half. But soon candidates will have options. Instead of running, they can walk. Push-ups can be replaced with holding themselves up in that position and doing alternate arm lifts. And they can do planks instead of sit-ups. Dana, the military commanders in China are laughing at us.
Well, I can imagine that the recruitment office is telling their higher-ups, like, we can't find anybody that's going to be passing this test, so we got to figure out something to do. And do they really need to be able to run a mile and a half? Well, okay, maybe not for some. However, Joey Jones sent me a note this morning after we did the show on Newsroom, and he said that it's not about looking good. It's about being physically fit to the point that you will need to be able to either run if you need to, or he said he would not have survived if he had not been physically fit when he sacrificed both of his legs in that bomb blast. So he said that for him, that was a matter of his survival. And that's why the physical fitness test is important. It's not just about being able to fit into your jeans.
Jesse, you're going to do the plank, or are you going to do the...
I'm surprisingly strong at planking. I had to do it when I hurt my back, so I can plank for about 2 minutes. Very good form, but this is not what this is about.
Walk the plank. That's what I'd like to see you do right now.
Yeah, you're about to do it. I heard your talking points already. I do see the irony in an overpaid middle-aged man who talks for a living on his keister, criticizing the armed forces for their strength and conditioning requirements. So I just want to say thank you to the men and women first for protecting us. With that said...
Now it gets dark.
There we go.
No, I'm kidding. They need to, it's the Air Force, right?
Yeah.
So they need to fly fast, not run fast. And I agree with Dana. They got to get recruits. Maybe they have to lower some standards. That is fine. But it does strike me as a little weak that this is happening. And I feel like I should not say much else because I don't want to say anything that might get me into any trouble.
Especially before the holiday weekend.
Right. Because then the next day when I'm not...
Rearrange.
I'm not saying boo about the Air Force. The Thunderbirds Herald took me up, and I have pulled 9 Gs, and I have never been more sick in my entire life. I was sick for like 12 hours. I was actually laying on the tarmac, taking a nap in the sun. What say you?
That's the best question ever.
Your first question to Dana said that the generals in China and Russia and North Korea have to be smiling that we would even be considering something like this. We're the United States of America. We have the greatest fighting force in the world, and I don't know how this reconciles with that. I get recruiting people, but this reminds me a little bit of our first story. You got to toughen up a bit here. I mean, we're the U.S., and if we don't have these standards, we're going to go with a Krispy Kreme policy, who went public today, versus a fitness policy, then we're gonna suffer the consequences. So I hope they revisit this.
Great.
Well, here's the deal. If they got on the phone with the other countries and they all agreed to lower the standards, then yeah, it's like, look, you know what? Our country's getting really fat. It's all those carbs and video games and Putin's going, same here. We got the same.
We've seen you guys too.
Yeah, it's like, why don't we all just agree? But you have to wonder in the future how important is physical stamina. I get what Joey's talking about. If you're in a tactical unit, like if you're in the SEALs, right? You got to be fit like me. Yeah. But if you are a pilot, you could probably be like Jesse, which is out of shape.
Yes.
Just because you're tall, you can hide your fat. But I mean, think about are we going to have the same kind of wars that we were used to seeing when we were growing up? Now that you have drones and maybe you have specialized groups like SEALs who we go in and we do these, what do you call it, pinprick attacks, and is it gonna? I mean, I cannot.
This isn't for infantry. This is just for the Air Force.
This is the thing, though. I imagine that are we past that at this point, where we're going to be using robotic devices?
Greg, if Canada catches a bad idea and starts coming south, we're going to need infantry on the Canadian border.
That is true.
I think they should actually consider just having everybody do 30 minutes intervals in arms with Cody Rigsby on Peloton and see how they do, and that could be the test.
But look at what they want to change: a mile and a half run. What were the things again?
That's easy.
This is not
a walk or a shuttle run.
Shuttle runs are hard, though.
Is that just sprinting back and forth?
Don't you remember the erasers, the shuttle runs with the erasers in school? Am I that old? I'm sorry.
I remember.
What were they doing with the erasers?
You run. You have to move erasers. You run. You want me to show you?
Yeah, like
Call them
suicide.
lines.
Back and
Liners.
forth. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, like a suicide. I mean,
And what's with the push-up? It's not all the way down. You have to just like lift your arms.
Yeah,
instead?
no, you do those are hard.
yesterday on the show, we watched Chuck Grassley do 20. The guy's 87 years
Yeah.
old. He did 20-plus push-ups.
Yeah.
And you're telling me our Air Force can't do 20 minutes?
And also, the problem with the Air Force is the reason why American Airlines is having such a hard time is that that's where you get your pilots. And there's a pilot shortage because they're not coming out of the Air Force.
Well, they don't want to work for American.
Oops. How un-American.
But I went to, Leif Babbitt and Jenna Lee got married, and Leif was retiring from the Navy SEALs, and so all of his SEAL team members were at the wedding, and except for Jocko Willink, who looked like he was cast as a Navy SEAL, all of them were super skinny. And you had no idea, and it's because they have to be able to do a dead man carry out of battle.
They were
you
hiding their fat. They were tall and skinny and hiding their fat. Apparently, that's what it is.
You have to be able to pick up another person and carry them. Which
I can pick up Gutfeld pretty easily.
I've been carrying this show forever.
Oh!
Count it.
Yes, you have. On that note.